This is Jodie's fawn. In this story, Jodie's father has been bitten by a rattlesnake. He quickly kills the doe and uses its heart and liver to draw out the poison. Jodie wonders what will happen to the little fawn left without a mother. Jodie was still thinking about the fawn. He was very curious. He got off the table without coming in someone's notice and got into his father's room. Penny, his father, was resting lying in the bed. Jodie asked him, "How are you feeling, Pa?" Penny replied that he is just fine now and also he is proud of his son. Just between the talks, Jodie asked him that if he remembered the doe and the fawn. Penny said that he can never forget them. Jodie then began to bring all that quiet goodness of the doe and the fawn and said that the fawn might be alone and scared also. He asked if he could bring it home. At this, Penny lay quiet, staring at the ceiling. The conversation between them continued and Penny agreed, saying that he cannot say him no because today he is alive because of the doe. Penny asked him to tell his mother that he had allowed him to go. He quietly got back on the table and sat down. His mother was pouring coffee for everyone. He told his mother about the fawn and that he had got permission from Pa. His mother got shocked and asked, "What fawn?" He told the mother that the whole matter. His mother gasped, "Well, for pity's sake." And Doc Wilson agreed with Jodie and asked his mother to give her child permission. Melville said that he will give company to him and he will be helping him in finding the fawn. Jodie's mother sat down helplessly and agreed. But before Jodie was leaving, she warned him not to go for long. Jodie replied that he will be back before dinner and he left with Melville. In the way, he asked Melville, "Do you think the fawn is still there? Will you help me find him?" Melville replied, "We will find him if he is alive." "How you know it's he?" Jodie said. The spots were all in a line. On a doe fawn, Pa says the spots are every which way. And then he gave himself over to the thoughts of the fawn. By the time when they reached the place where the snake had bitten the Penny for the last time, Jodie started unwilling to have Melville with him. And after some time, Jodie left Melville by saying that it will not be possible to find fawn on horse and he will prefer to search him by his feet. Jodie thought if the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. And if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. So he started to search for the fawn. But for a long time, he couldn't find anything. Not a single sign or sound. At last, he came into the clearing under the oaks. Buzzards sat in a circle around the carcasses of the doe. They turned their heads on their long, scrawny necks and hissed at him. He threw his bow at them and they flew into an adjacent tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. He parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. He circled the clearing. There was no sound, no sign. The buzzards clacked their wings, impatient to return to their business. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours, studying the sand or the small hoof prints. The night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cats and buzzards. He was too tired. This time, however, the fawn followed him as he walked on. He allowed it to walk a little. Then he picked it up again. He reached at the gate of his home carrying the fawn. At the gate, Jody had an idea. He would walk into his father's room with the fawn after him. But at the steps, the fawn would not come up. So Jody reached his father's bed with the fawn on him. Jody showed his father the fawn. The father was glad that Jody had found what he wanted. Jody offered the milk to the fawn. The milk was in guard. The fawn could not drink it. Then Jody dipped his fingers in the milk and thrust them into the fawn's soft, wet mouth. The fawn drank the milk greedily. Then he lowered his fingers into the gourd. The fawn drank from the gourd now, and the last of the milk vanished in a swirl of foam and gurgling. Thank you for watching.